Go.
All right. Welcome. How's everybody doing?
We doing good.
All right. Welcome to the Houston Ensemble podcast number 9. Today, we've got the wonderful, the great, talented Jeremy Joseph with us. Jeremy's a pianist, singer, songwriter, really amazing musician here in Houston, and really cool guy in general. Really awesome. Has a lot of cool thoughts, and it's just always a pleasure to be around. So we want to bring him on and just
A fighter.
Well,
do our
fuck,
thing.
thank you, man.
A lover.
That was cool. If I die, you know what your job is, right?
I give you a eulogy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
sweet.
the obit too.
the obit. Right, the obit.
What am I saying?
I don't know. Talk about, give us your background a little bit. So for anybody who totally doesn't know you, they just kind of understand who you are, where you come from, and what you do.
Okay. I'll just say the short version because I'm sure some of the other stuff will come up, a little later. But I was born here in Texas, in Houston. Grew up in Pearland, which is a suburb of Houston. Grew up around a pretty conservative group just because, especially post 9/11, everybody kind of was for a little bit. Just patriotic and not that means conservative, but at the time it kind of did. They kind of went hand in hand, right? But everybody that I grew up around, we all went to church. Yeah, that was a big part of our lives. I went to a Baptist school for college,
wow.
That actually wasn't as bad as you'd think. I came out there of the closet, and then went back in 3 years later, and it came out and again, and
At Baptist school?
yeah. The thing is that school.
It was all boys?
No.
All right.
No, it was actually there were more females there than men by far at HBU.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Oh, I know where HBU is.
I gotta
yeah.
go get my PhD there.
No. First of all, you can't. There's no doctorate program. At least not yet. They've shifted a lot. It's more liberal arts based now. They have this philosophy school that they're opening and all this, so it'll get there. But anyway, it was an interesting experience. Not what you'd think, though. It wasn't like I partied hard in college, hard in college. And it was one of those things where sometimes people just go where they're going to get accepted. And so you had a lot of those. I got a scholarship for music, whatever. But anyway, graduated from there in 2010, a long ass time ago, fucking crazy. And I've just been doing music full time ever since. Pretty lucky in that regard. I taught lessons for a good while and still kind of do off and on. And used to have a band called Now We Fly with some of my best buds, and moved to Philly, and we kind of disbanded. When I moved back, kind of tried to get it going, but adulthood and all that, and people having kids and shit, didn't really work out. And now I work full time for. I'm not gonna say the name of the agency because that's weird. But I will say I work for an agency, and they book me to play keys and sing at restaurants around town, and they've been great because a lot of the places they have accounts with were open earlier than a lot of other places.
I bet.
Which is pretty cool.
Those big money spots.
Yeah. Also, it's Texas, and
Yeah.
we're kind of doing our own thing here.
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
We keep saying that.
Yeah, I fucking love it, man. Honestly, I was gonna move to DC with the same company about a year and a half ago, and I'm so happy I didn't because nothing's open there still.
Yeah. And you got to sing in your mask.
Yeah, dude, fuck that. I don't even like to work out in my mask. I don't like to walk around in my mask unless I actively want to avoid people. Then it's
Dude, working out in the mask, that's got to be tough.
It's awful. That's why I canceled my gym membership. I was like, I can't do this. Sorry.
Moisture.
Yeah, and let's see. That leads me to now. I have been working on a new project with some guys around town. Gavin Mulchan, who you guys have played with, everybody knows him. and we've been friends for a little bit now. He's been kind of my main drummer for a while. And then a guy named Alan Garcia on bass. Dope cat, very unassuming, like
awesome.
maybe even too humble.
Yeah,
you know,
actually.
but the dude can fucking play his ass off, and it's just very unassuming. Like I love hearing him
produce.
Yeah, dude, yeah, he's so talented, and he's like perfect for the thing I'm trying to do. But be looking out for Brother Cedric. That is that's like my stage name, like with these guys, is Brother Cedric. That's my middle name. Cedric.
Okay, cool.
Jeremiah Cedric Joseph.
Jeremiah Cedric.
So yeah, be on the lookout for that shit, and we're gonna release some stuff that's just been kind of in production limbo like for months now.
Yeah.
But you'll hear it soon. So that's the jizz of it.
Wow. Well, that's sweet. When did you start playing music?
I started playing unofficially when I was like, as long as I can remember. I remember being like 9 years old specifically, and my dad like asking if I wanted a bicycle or a keyboard for my birthday, and I picked a keyboard. You know,
that's a big choice, actually.
It is. Looking back on that, I was like, you should have took the bike. But I already had a bike, so I think that was part of it too. You know. All
right, I was assuming.
I didn't like really need one. Like I already had a bike. It was just getting old, and I was growing up.
Do you want another bike? That's easy.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm just gonna get a keyboard, that's kind of when I started teaching myself. My dad played music. He was a piano player.
That always helps.
Yeah,
that's nice.
He had no formal training at all. It was all by ear. Like he didn't have those resources growing up. He actually grew up right down the street from here. Believe it or not.
Really?
When he was a little kid. Yeah.
Welcome home.
Yeah, and we grew up actually. So we went to the church that Brittany Bloom's family goes to, and we were very close. Brittany Bloom is actually her mom was my piano teacher.
Oh, wait. So she learned from her mom.
Yeah, her family's dope.
I don't know a lot about her family. Yeah. I just know who she is, and I know that she's killing.
Yeah, they all are. That was like the most musical family that I've ever known. Wow. Like everybody can play, even the ones that don't still can, and like and sing and like it's great. But I specifically remember that growing up, like with my dad, like going to their house with all the musicians. My dad played in the church band. And actually was a singer-songwriter in his own right. When he was 24, he had like this major record deal, and like it was Christian stuff. But still, it was cool 80s vibe or whatever. And but he went on to do like IT stuff and kind of did music on the side.
Okay, cool.
It's different for me.
Wow.
Did you know my parents used to run a large touring dance company in Armenia in the 70s?
That's awesome.
And the 80s. And they would tour all over Europe and Russia and Armenia and Georgia and Kazakhstan, that region. And and I didn't even know this shit until I started playing piano when I was like 7, because they got me lessons.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when I learned that my mom and dad they can dance.
You didn't know that until then?
I know. I didn't really know that. I knew my father played. He played like everything. Played guitar, flute,
really?
the violin, like the Armenian version of a violin, and bass and all that shit. And I knew that, and he made his own instruments too. On top of that.
Oh wow, cool.
That's pretty dope.
And my mother sang, danced, and she was very into poetry, and literature and all that. Oh. And but then my sister went through classical Russian piano school.
Ooh, that's intense.
Both my sisters went through classical.
Really? Teach at one of those schools. Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah.
So that's so crazy.
Damn.
And then my brother went through violin school.
Okay.
But he quit. You know why? Because he was getting so good, so the students wanted to ruin him. So what they did was they ripped the horsehair off of his bow, right?
Yeah.
And they set it on fire, and they dropped it under his shirt, like right here.
Holy shit!
Like under his shirt.
Who thinks of that?
And it just burned the fuck out of his back, obviously, because he was like, "Fuck," And
That's so maniacal.
It's
like,
right.
what?
It's so
Jesus.
It's so fucked up.
It's emotional.
It's very emotional.
It's painful,
So after
literally.
that, he quit. He never went back.
Wow.
It was very sad.
That is really sad.
It's very
Fuck
sad.
those kids.
Fuck those kids. So secretly, my entire family is musical, but it's like different in post or like Soviet Union cultures. Like everyone is expected to have training in the arts because it makes you a better person.
As it does.
You know, and it doesn't mean necessarily that you're gonna be a musician or anything like that. But I just figured, you know, why not be a musician? I mean, my entire family tried to be a musician.
Right.
And none of them are. It's just too sad. Like something needs to be. We need to. What's it called? Retribution. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, that's crazy. What are your sisters doing now, and where are they?
My eldest sister is in Sochi, Russia. Unfortunately, her husband passed away from cardiac arrest about a year ago.
It's too bad.
Yeah. So, you know, she's going through that, but, you know, fortunately, we have a couple of businesses in Sochi. So it's helping, you know, sustain the family, you know, keep the structure of the family going. So that's good. My other sister, who's still much older than me, she's like 39.
How old is your oldest sister?
46.
Okay. 39.
Yeah. Not crazy.
I got even older siblings.
Really?
Uh-huh.
How old are they?
I don't even know their exact age because they're half siblings.
Right.
From my dad.
Right.
Who had me very old.
Right.
So I think they're in their 50s.
Yeah, not crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Do you even hang out with them ever?
No.
Not crazy?
No, I mean, it's not like a negative thing, but it's like,
It's
not like we were ever like connected
Right.
from the get-go.
Right.
It was always like that. It's that little separation. But continue your story.
Yeah, yeah, so. Anyway, but the other sister is in Armenia, which is not a good place to be right now.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the war.
Is it literally dangerous where she is?
It depends where she is. If she's far away from the border,
Okay.
then
So
maybe
it's really
she's
just
probably
concentrated
fine.
on the border.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say so.
By the way, if you see me looking at my phone, it's because I'm trying to hear back from my.
Oh yeah, you're good.
You know,
I wasn't even
Your boss.
Yeah. So I just need to keep it there just in case. Like I don't want to miss it.
Oh, you're good.
Right,
Anyway,
good.
just for
It's all business up in here.
people listening and watching.
All right.
You need a pager.
Yeah, you need a pager.
No, I want to get a pager like Sean.
Oh man, yeah.
Let's take
a pager.
Yeah, we know Sean from Eighth Wonder with a pager. We're gonna do a quick shout out to our sponsor, Eighth Wonder. We got the hat on. You know, we actually got the gig today. You won't be watching it on this day, but every Thursday we're at Eighth Wonder Brewery from 6:30 to 9:30. Starting on these coming Thursdays, 6:30 to 9:30, Eighth Wonder Brewery in East Downtown.
Today, 538.
But they're not going to see this
Oh yeah, they're not
today, so.
Well, what? Yeah.
But anyway, and where's your brother? I'm just curious where your whole family is.
My brother's actually working at the hotel that we run in Sochi.
Oh wow!
So yeah.
What an interesting life. From
for
the
real.
dance company to the shop here to the hotel.
Yeah.
In Sochi, Russia. I don't even know what Sochi, Russia. So I was serving coffee to these people the other day, and they had Russian accents, and I was like, "Are you from Russia?" And they're like, "Yes. How did you know?" And I was like, obvious.
How do you know?
It's just super obvious, and you look Russian.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, one of my great friends is from Sochi, Russia."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Wow." Anyway, that's it.
Yeah.
This looks crazy.
Wow.
What?
Sochi?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's amazing. It's like a beach.
It's amazing.
I wasn't expecting.
Is it?
There's mountains too where you can ski.
I see the mountains.
You can.
Is it actually
ski
warm?
there? in the beach it's warm, in the mountains it's cold. So it's literally you can live anywhere you want.
This looks insane.
No, Sochi's an amazing city.
Until you said it, I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
And maybe I had heard of it in passing, but I've never seen it. You can go to the beach
and then go skiing.
I feel like I'm looking at these pictures, I feel like I'm being lied to.
No, man.
Not from you or not from you or the pictures, but in life.
In life.
Where I'm just like, what?
You can do that. Yeah.
That's how I felt. But I feel like that's like a big thing. We just don't know. We're fed so much bull in America about the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And then when you actually get out of America and you go to these other places, you're like, holy shit, this is sweet.
Oh,
in general. Oh, yeah. Every country has their problems. I'm not saying they're problem free, but I'm just saying, like, even the way that they portray the people of another country is always inaccurate.
Right.
And, going to Asia, for example, I was like, that was a part of the world where I felt completely disconnected from. Like, I'm thinking, man, Asian culture and language and the people are just so different from me. It's like they're a different species, like a different animal that I can't connect to. But then when I went over there and just lived in it for a little bit and went to the different countries, I was like, oh man, we're still just all the same, and these people are wonderful.
You know what's interesting about that is I read this book a few years ago called Physics of the Future. By Dr. Michio Kaku.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there was this, I don't remember why he brought it up, but this very thing that you're saying, there's a reason why, like, during World War II, and I am not a history buff, not even close, okay? So I'm not going to even try to sound like one. But I will say, one thing that stuck out to me that he said was, back then, a Japanese person might as well have been an alien, even more so than today, right? Yes. Because, you were only looking at propaganda films. Like, you didn't really, if you saw one, like, around you, it was just like, that's the enemy. But what you're talking about is essentially why, you see less and less of that is, disconnection. It's easier. More of us have been over there. Like, we have people, like, on Reddit that, like, are in the same threads, you know what I'm saying? Like, we game with people from, you know what I'm saying? Like,
even that.
Yeah, it's just, of all, to where color, like, and race and background, like, literally doesn't matter. And back to what you were saying about being fed information, I would agree, but I would also counter that and say, I think most people do that, or most countries do that to a certain degree.
You think?
Oh, yeah, like.
But isn't America, like, always the apple of their eye?
Not always, man.
Not always, but I would say more
lately.
More frequently, yeah. Well,
not lately. I'll just say this, like, because I've talked to friends from that are visiting from overseas or whatever, and I've heard them say, like, a lot of what they think Americans are. And they're kind of right about a lot of them. I think Americans are really loud and really, like, we don't value education. Again, also something that's kind of true. But it's not just that. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much more to America than that. And I think they know that. But I also think I don't know. It's not hard to really find correct information. You just have to be diligent about it. If you go by the first thing you see, then you didn't really care to know the truth about this. There's always, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And I always do that. Whenever I see, like, a headline, I'm just like, okay, well, let's see what this really means.
Or you gotta see the headline and be like, what? And then read it and see exactly what they say. Can I say a good example of this today? Do you know what I'm gonna say?
No, but I see this all the time. What we're talking about.
This is about Amy Barrett, the Supreme Court nominee, and I saw a headline this morning, and it said Amy Barrett says it's okay to using the N-word in the workplace is okay, or it's not hostile, or they're saying she doesn't think it's bad to say the N-word. I was like, no way.
Exactly, dude.
And I went, because I actually watched a lot of her hearing. Like, I watched the actual hearing.
Good for you,
and I listened to what she was saying.
She's a sweet little girl.
She's, she graduated in the top of her class for law. Like, she's smart. And I am not trying to pick sides. I'm just trying to see what somebody is saying and watch them in person, hear exactly what they say. So I went to this article today I was like, she has like 4 black kids, by the way.
That's crazy.
And
interesting.
You know, yeah, you can look at that multiple ways, of course, but I'm gonna go with the more heartfelt way and be like, that's not like a play or anything. Like she actually probably like, I don't know the background story, but probably adopted.
Yeah, she didn't adopt 4 black kids because she hates black people or because she wants to like exploit them.
Or even maybe wants that image. Like she probably just is like a good person who wants to do that. And take some kids off the street, whether they're white or black. That's just a good thing to do, and that's also a really tough dilemma that I have right now. It's like, damn, there's so many kids that need to be adopted. It's like having a kid is not cool, and I'm not cool. Not cool is the worst way I could have put that.
I know what you mean, though.
Whatever. Let me continue with this.
Yeah.
Anyway, I read this story, and I listened to exactly what she said. The senators asking her the questions brought up a case from 2019 that she presided over, and I think we need more detail on it because I read it kind of quickly, but this is the gist of it. I don't think it's going to be off. Somebody went to court because somebody had said the N-word in the workplace. I don't know if it was to him or if he just heard it. That's a big part of this.
Right, or just said it like quoting something.
Or quote or song, whatever. The N-word was mentioned in the workplace. Based on my reading and based on my memory, I don't think it was said directly at him. But anyway, basically all she ruled was we didn't have enough evidence to say for sure that when this word was used, it made the workplace a hostile and unsuitable environment.
Yeah,
and fair. That's, it's tough, right? It's tough because you want to protect those things, but at the same time, she's being like as technical as possible, which sometimes can be very annoying. But I would hope that I would also be as technical as possible always.
As a judge,
as a fucking judge,
and as a judge, yeah.
Come on, like that's what you want, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what she did in the entire hearing, too. She was as technical as possible.
You don't want an emotional person judging a case. Right. That's not going to work.
Right. And, another interesting thing is they're getting on her for being very Catholic.
So fucking...
And guess what? I listened to the vice president debate. Kamala Harris is touting Joe Biden as the second Catholic president in a good way. And I really don't care. We're going to get a Christian president regardless. I don't care.
They're never not going to be Christian.
So why
it'll happen. We're just a long ways away from it.
We're a long way away from it.
A long ways.
That's
like a major tenet.
When you say that there's been this, I've noticed it, okay? And you can just, I mean, I'm not going to say read history books, but just, if you know just about the last few decades, there's just been this like pendulum, right? Where... I don't know if y'all have noticed, but like the past like 10 years, people like have been really spiritual, really more into like church and religion.
Oh.
Like, I mean, well, here's the thing. What I'm saying is people like are more open to that, right, than they were when I was like a lot younger. I remember there were a lot more like
I just felt ambiguous spirituality.
Yeah, but I don't even mean that. Like, okay. I mean straight up just people like posting Bible verses that aren't necessarily Christian, but it's just like, you know what I mean?
Well, actually, I've done that too. Recently, I posted
but it's just
Bible
part of the zeitgeist
verse
right now. I think that was not the case like, a few years ago. I definitely, and just even in some of the podcasts I was listening to, I felt like you heard way more like, I mean, I'm not really a Christian or a religious person at all. Like, I don't even believe it. You would hear that spouted a lot more. And I don't know what really shifted, but I do know that it's a pendulum because we were also there. If you ask my mom, like the late 70s was big on that too. And the 80s, like, and also there was a period of time where people were wearing "What Would Jesus Do" bracelets. I mean, remember that? It just goes back and forth. And I think the pendulum continues to move, but it's on this train, right? That's still just moving. We can't help but move forward. And you know it because like our beliefs are not as whack as they used to be overall. Like most people like that I know.
In 100 years, we're going to say that same thing. Maybe.
I mean, I don't know.
Here's the thing,
man.
It's a maybe actually, because it's like it might be possible to know more and do better and to be less wrong in hindsight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Jesus is the way, my brother.
Oh, I thought you were saying Jesus. I do love a Jesus chord.
Love a Jesus.
But
God's
Jesus.
favorite chord.
Jesus is the way, my brother.
For the record, like, I
should
don't
play a G sus chord right here, like just the sound bite of a nice G sus chord. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh, you're good.
making sure I'm not
You're good.
getting fired. No, that wouldn't happen.
You are
But continue
fired.
what you were saying.
Well, and this is a hot take, right? But I really do think that, I mean, there's this overall, like I'll just say this, most Christians, and I mean like evangelicals, right, that are, around our age, or, I mean, you're quite a bit younger than I am, but, by a few years. But still, generally, like our age would consider themselves, at least the educated ones, right? A lot of them would consider themselves reformed. And all that means is like, they're okay with the beer. You know what I'm saying? Like they're okay with cursing every now and then.
And
like,
they're liberal with their interpretation.
Yeah, and
of the Bible.
they're okay with their gay friends. They're not picketing, like outside of like Montrose and stuff. Like, this is a major shift, my friend, because when I was a kid, it was just, I mean, I remember even in high school, like hearing, like going to youth conferences and like, dead ass people being like, the ministers there being like, two cocks can't rock, and just shit like that. And just like, it rhymes, and then it's just like, just saying like, and even if you are born this way, like you might as well get saved like the rest of us. And it's really hateful stuff that just would not fly today. Like, I mean, I don't care like where you are. There's a gospel singer, her career was on the rise and it got fucked up because she was saying shit like that, calling like, gay people, and we have phones now. That's the thing too. Like, so I just think overall we're moving, and I say we as a society, I think we're moving towards just a general acceptance of other people and other cultures, but at the same time having to reconcile all of the crazy shit that's in the Bible. And that's what the difficulty is. And I think that the Bible in general will just be this thing that's really, really just open to interpretation, like altogether. It's not this like, for lack of a better word, gospel, right? So,
but it's also really dangerous to leave something like that open to interpretation, to give free reign over it, because obviously, as you just said, people interpret it very differently, so much to the point where people can get literally harmed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it another time, but like, for example, this is not Christianity, this is Islam. In an Islamic state, if you're gay, like, it's okay to take you out.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. The thing I'm saying is, like, that is a very archaic belief. People that believe and interpret it that way didn't just start interpreting it that way out of thin air. It wasn't like,
oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Totally.
So what I mean is, like, even with people misinterpreting the Bible, the worst they could do, in my opinion, and what I really think will happen in the next like 50 to 100 years, the worst they could do is interpret something like, something about sin or something. But not in a way where they would harm someone from it, or discriminate, because that shit just like won't be able to fly. Like, I mean, just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it creates division. And I think there's so much into this, man. Like, I really think that society, we've gotten really good at, and I say society at this general umbrella term, I'm really just mean like the Western world, right? We've gotten really good at like doing what's best for all of us, even when it doesn't seem like it in the moment. We still end up doing what's best for everybody. That's why, like, and I'm not leaving it to us. I think we can still fuck shit up because we do, but I just think that generally what ends up happening is, we do the thing that's best for everybody. And what's best for everybody is if you're just okay with your neighbors being gay, and if you bake them a cake,
Bro, you're reading my mind. I was gonna ask you about that, like, and I'm just as like a moral dilemma. Obviously you're sympathetic. I'm sympathetic to the gay cake baking thing too, because I have two moms,
right,
and who got married in like right after the Supreme Court thing. But I think about it and I'm like, okay, so this is an example of somebody being Christian, interpreting the Bible in their own specific way, them living in a country where they have the freedom to do that, them owning a business in a country, a private business in a country where they have the freedom to do that. And then somebody comes in and asks them to support something that they're in their hearts, not in everybody's hearts, but in their hearts, and we all have our own like very specific heart beliefs that they're wildly against, and they say no. And I think about it, and I don't agree with it because I would want my cake baked.
Right.
But then I'm like, damn it. Do they have should we allow them the freedom to make choices for something that is their privately owned thing?
I don't think you should. So no. So let's just be clear. Like, I would love to know the place. First of all, if I'm a gay man, which I am, why would I want to go to a cake shop where they were forced to bake cakes for gay people?
Totally, yeah.
I don't want to go to that place because I know there are plenty of other places that want my money and will gladly take it. Same with, look, and this is, people hate when I say this, and you can hate it, but it's just how I feel. If I'm at a restaurant, like, and they're like, you know, I could just see they're being racist or whatever. It's very hard to find a place where, like, sorry, we don't serve, you know, blackies. That's just very hard to find. I'm sure it may exist somewhere, but let's just say that it did. I'm like, oh, like, are you fucking kidding me? All right, damn, you know what I'm saying? And I would leave, and people would know this. Yeah. Most people don't want to go to that place. Like, in general, even white people wouldn't want to go to a place like that.
Oh yeah,
right. So it's in everybody's best interests just to fucking get along and understand people, because it's like, you could even say it's better for the economy. I mean, as fucked up as that sounds.
Yeah. No, it is. Wait. So let me be clear. You would force them to bake the cake?
No, I wouldn't. What
or
I'm
you
saying
say
is
they have the freedom to make that choice.
They have the freedom to make that choice as a business, because, you know, I don't want to go to a place where they were forced to do that and they didn't want to. Now, to be clear, this is not like that dumbass lady, that the clerk, I forget where she was.
That's a different story.
It's a different thing.
That's legal state.
Right.
That's why this is specific. This is about private business.
Right.
Also,
exactly.
Literally everything is contextual too. So it might change from center. This is about fucking cake. Right.
Right.
In this 100%. Particular case, and the reason that this particular case is important is because they took it to court and they sued them.
By the way, it's also worth noting, I don't know if you know this, but that was like a planned thing. Okay, the people that
they planned it.
Yes, I mean the people that knew. I mean that, you know, from my understanding,
the gay people.
Yeah, I mean it was not like they were just like, ooh, this looks like a good place to bake a cake. You know what I'm saying? Like, they knew about this place already, and he put them in that position. So it's just, and that's
a little maniacal.
It's super maniacal, but it's how it works. It's how news works, man. That's how we're fueled by anger and you know, bullshit headlines like the one you said.
Yeah.
And there's one that says, like, you know, Trump says not to be like, you read the tweet that says, and I think if you know me, you know how I feel about Trump, okay? But at the end of the day, man, you'd have to just look at things for what they are. And with a tweet where he said, you know, we do not need to be afraid of the coronavirus. But that was the general sentiment, but not like he's like, be safe. It wasn't like just fuck it. It was just like, we don't be afraid of it. Like, don't let the fear consume you or whatever.
Yeah.
And New York Times like took that, but said, so it was like, Trump says to not fear the coronavirus, downplaying the severity of the coronavirus. It's like, okay, but like, he's not doing that. Like, he's just simply saying, like, honestly, like, he's just saying, don't live in fear. It's the same thing that you would say,
that
like,
we've been saying on our own.
Thank you. If we were in war, like, don't live in fear.
Yeah.
That's literally what happens. Like, we'll let them win, let the terrorists win or whatever. Like, be cautious. Like, don't be an idiot, but like, also, don't be afraid. And that's literally what it said. It's a very innocuous thing. It's got, honestly, like, props to people who are spin doctors. Like, I think it's really kind of a...
Yeah, but shame on you.
Shame on them. But it's shame like, damn, dude, you just, how did you do that?
Well,
you know?
When I spoke to a friend who, you know, worked for the New York Times, you know, and he quit, you know.
Oh, wow.
And he said that they were being paid to be spin doctors.
Of course.
You know, they were being pressured to be spin doctors, and they were being paid to be spin doctors. So, and he openly admitted, he's like, yeah, the state of the, you know, large media companies is like, it's pathetic. You know, they're not doing research or anything. It's just really social media driven. Yep. Honestly.
It's and I was listening to this news podcast with Alex earlier called The Hill with Crystal and Cigar. I don't know their last names, but it's like, that's a great news source because they're really right in the center, and they bring stuff from one side and they bring stuff from another side, and they just tell it like it is. And they were talking about one thing today where, you know, Hunter Biden is involved a lot with, you know, business dealings in Far Eastern Europe and like Ukraine and stuff. And they got these emails off his computer, and they got the emails because he took this computer to a computer shop, and for some reason, I don't know all the details because I didn't listen to the first part. Alex just told me this. The guy had the files from the hard drive at the computer shop, and then basically they saw Hunter's direct emails between two people, I forget who it was, saying that he's going to, like, you know, leverage his power to make these things and get a bunch more money for this. He was like, he was already being paid $50,000 a month and something about getting he was like, I need $25,000 more, and using his dad. And these are just weird business deals. I don't know the specifics. They're not good. Go look them up. But then they did in the New York Post, they did a story on it, just documenting it because they came out and it was accurate. And I'm going off of what Crystal and Cigar are saying, and I believe that they like completely would fact check this. And the New York, and then people will post it on Facebook and Twitter, and they completely censored that story. Specifically just that story. And they had on Facebook, their Facebook fact checkers fact check it. And for the sole reason that it was smearing their ideology that they didn't want. And Crystal and Cigar were like, this is like this is like the start. This is the start, because it was the truest sense of censoring something that was accurate and honest and just in the news, and they censored this specific news source.
This is the start of real censorship.
Yeah.
But is that, when you say that's been around, I feel like it seems worse because it's so immediate. You know what I mean? Like, and it's so blatant and it's so easy to see.
It has been, but I would say in the past, like, if we just use the past 10 years as an example, it wasn't like it was today.
Right.
Today it's more like, of course, there always was censorship, but today it's just bold. The fact that Twitter, they even like suspended Kaylee, whatever her name is,
such bullshit.
They suspended her on Twitter, and it was for absolute crazy reason.
Such bullshit.
And you know, obviously they suspended Trump, and I'm sure he didn't say anything that like actually broke guidelines. He didn't say like, let's kill somebody. Maybe
No.
I don't know what he said. Every time he tweets something, it gets spinned.
I think that the worst. I think that arguably maybe the thing that they say violated it was his comments on Antifa. But it's like he's in his right as president to comment on Antifa. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so man, it's just like so silly.
And just
it's like Twitter's like a little kid.
And just to be clear, this is not a MAGA vibe.
No,
this ain't no MAGA vibe.
Right.
You gotta get past that.
That's a totally different thing. I mean,
I don't give a
no. This is just
shit.
honest.
Yeah.
This is just
shit about that stuff.
being objective.
Yeah. No,
and being honest with the information.
When it gets like, imagine in 1945 when Teddy was running shit, he would never have stood for a company censoring him. He would have antitrusted the shit out of those people, and he did.
Yeah, I mean,
and he did that a lot back in those decades. So. And guess what? We need to do that right now too, cause the size of social media is not necessarily benefiting society. I don't really think it's benefiting society. It's creating more money. That's what it's doing.
You don't think it's like this kind of double-edged sword? I mean, a couple of things. I think I've never really been into Twitter, so I don't really give a fuck about it.
Yeah.
But I will say this, and this is, people hate when I say it, but it's like, I mean, you don't have to be on Twitter. You know what I'm saying?
No.
It's not. It shouldn't be where you get your news. I'm sorry.
It is for so many people
our
age.
It shouldn't be. And Facebook for sure shouldn't be where you get your news. Like, you kind of have to, like, really, honestly, the local paper is a great place to get your news, believe it or not, but people aren't really into it. But still, that's where you get some of the best journalism is through print media like that.
Right.
That's, you know, other than like New York Times, it's something else. But like in most situations, you can count on really good, you know, honest journalism. And Twitter, to me, you know, people shouldn't use it as a news source at all. And I actually think Twitter is within its rights to censor whoever they want, because it's not like, and I know that's weird in a way, but it's not. I don't know, man. I just don't feel like, I don't think we're entitled to Twitter. I don't think that we're, you know, it's kind of like I don't have a right to Twitter. Twitter, you know what I'm saying? They can do whatever they want. It's kind of how I feel about the cake people. And
It's similar. Here's a caveat. Can I say a caveat to that real quick? People have wanted to go against Twitter and sue them for their censorship. And the reason, it's like, yes, it is a private company that it's like if you owned it, like, you're just Jack Dorsey, you'd be like, this is my thing, my platform. But it's gotten to a point where they could define it as something called a public utility, because it's literally like a way of getting information to the public at this point. And it's only for some things, Twitter is the only way to access that information or be part of something. And obviously there's so many people on Twitter that it is global at that point, thus making it public utility. And that's where, in this context, contrary to the cake, it might be harder to say, well, it's their platform, so they can suspend the president.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, social media is in.
And same with Facebook.
Yeah, so yeah.
And even more so with Facebook.
But here's the
honestly.
thing, man. Remember I was saying, like, I don't know. There's this kind of, it's not really a delusion, but I'll say it's an illusion. You know, we tend to think about the right now as the most important moment in the history of everything, but it's only because everything has led up to this moment. And think about that. Like, of course it's going to feel that way. Everybody has thought that. If I hear one other person tell me this is the most important election of it's just not true. It's more important than Lincoln's. I mean, come on. Like,
great point.
You could literally own people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I would argue that, oh man, and I think that it feels like we're on the precipice of something, but maybe not. Like, maybe it's just social media is so new. It's in something, there's a term called techno infancy, and that's what it is, where we're trying to sort it out. Like, it's too much. It's too powerful. We don't really understand it. But luckily, kids aren't into it. At least not the way we are. Kids use it like mostly for fun. Like, if you look at, like, I mean, I'm talking like 19, 20-year-olds, like, they're not posting like stuff that matters. You know what I'm saying? It's the grown adults, old people that are doing that. So I could say that, like, it seems like Facebook will just be the most important thing forever, but I guarantee you it won't. It might be around forever, but it'll be a totally different thing. And it's based on what the people want. And we're all having this conversation right now about how everybody is, about how social media sucks, you know, how it's destroying us. But the fact that we're all talking about it means that we're all aware. And to be honest, man, I haven't had a Facebook account like actively in months. I mean, maybe even years. I go back and forth. Like, if I have a show, I'll reactivate it. But I just don't see a need to be on there. The only good thing about it is, like, seeing people that I haven't seen in a long time. But I mean, I don't miss anybody that I haven't seen, like, on Facebook. I don't know.
I think Armin and I feel like Facebook is a necessity.
Well, that makes sense for you guys. But if you were to ask a 19-year-old that, they wouldn't feel that way. They would have a totally different way of getting their, you know, music across, getting like their shows across. They wouldn't use Facebook. So, I mean, I don't know what they would use.
Well, now the social media business model is designed so that it takes advantage of companies with money. So their advertising system, which is a pretty advanced system, by which you can track your sales and optimize a whole bunch of parameters, you know.
Right.
And it's advanced. It's cool. You know, I'm impressed. I'm not going to say that it's a bad thing.
It's pretty dope.
It's pretty good. That being said, it's clear that every update that Facebook has given is driven towards, like, strengthening that element of its platform. It's just totally advertiser based right now.
Yeah.
And who's going to benefit the most from that sort of corporate model is the old businesses.
Right.
So what we're seeing is a reclaiming of old business roots within social media. I mean, these archaic companies are like, even record companies are strengthening their ties through social media. And yes, you can have influencers now. Like, you could call somebody with an account over a certain amount an influencer or whatever, but
which is weird.
Yeah, which is weird.
It's an odd feeling, I should say.
Yeah, but you're not gonna get there without some sort of advertising or without people promoting your whatever. So, what the hell was the point of saying all that?
I mean,
we got an email from on our business email. I don't know if it was spam. It could have been spam. I forgot to ask you about it, but it was like from an influencer. The way it was written, it seemed spammy.
Yeah.
But then
what was they saying?
It's just like, "Hi, I'm an influencer." One more sentence, I forget what it was, and that was it. And it was like, I guess maybe for Instagram. And I was like, I just had this like really flash forward image of the future where, did you guys ever just watch this Netflix
Social Dilemma?
No, it was with Jonah Hill. It was a Netflix series with Jonah Hill. It's where they take this medicine that's like a trip.
I forgot what it was called, but I did see that. I didn't finish it.
Okay.
It was too weird for me, but
but you don't even need to finish it. Do you remember those people, the ad buddies that would come and sit next to people with like a briefcase?
Yeah.
So they're like these people. I almost kind of didn't understand the premise. It's like, if you need something, if you need money or something, correct me if I'm wrong. These people you can call, and they're like always dressed in like coats and stuff. They have a briefcase, and they'll come with you and sit with you. And they're called ad buddies, and they have like literal physical ads or something, and that you like. I don't understand.
I don't know if I remember that part of the movie or of that show. It was like one where they're like, there's like, they end up like in different scenarios at different points in time or whatever, and it's all based on like, they like take some pills or something.
Yeah. No, it was crazy for like this medical trial.
Yeah.
For a clinical trial, and it turns out that like there's like an AI computer that's like fully conscious. And the AI computer is like
cries and all that.
Yeah, molding like with their consciousness and stealing it from this drug that they were given. And it's all about like the brain and consciousness and whatnot and technology. And it was very, very weird. Anyway, I see the influencer in our email, and I'm like, wow, we're going to have people in the future that are just influencers. And it's kind of like a weird under the radar.
They could just be AI.
Yeah, exactly.
They could be AI people with AI music, AI promotion.
Yeah.
Well, so that's an interesting point, right? I mean, in the far, far future, I think I believe that the only thing that would be, the most probable thing to me is like a post-biological world, which I know sounds insane, and I mean like hundreds of years from now. You know what I'm saying? But like. And maybe not even, right? I don't know if you believe in the singularity, like, and Kurzweil is like, he thinks it's gonna happen like within 100 years. I mean, I think is he dead? I don't know, but
no, he's alive.
Is he alive? But yeah, 2100, I think is what he says. But anyway, like
he says 21. He said 2042.
Yeah, well, I heard 2100, but I could be wrong about that. Right. I think what will end up happening is AI will be this thing that like will just insidiously just kind of become a part of us in us in a way. Also, this will happen around some of the same, like, dude, fucking Neuralink is going to be.
Oh, I know.
And so I think it'll fix the social media problem, all the problems that we have now in the sense of like, understanding like how to be empathetic in a way, the implications, man, like for like the next like 100 years or whatever, to be able to feel what someone feels. Imagine being a doctor and like being able to feel your patient's pain to like know like where to fix it, like or like what it is. That's also from like a Black Mirror episode. But I don't know. I don't see it as I think a good way to know that we're still like in the early stages of all this is those at the point when they added the like button That was a really, really big deal because before then you had to like actively take the time to like type and say like, hey, I really like, that was a really cool picture, or to say how you feel about it. But then that wasn't even enough. At a certain point you also needed like to know how you felt about something, even if it made you angry. People kept wanting the dislike button, but that's like too negative and it's just too black and white. So instead what they do is, I had been off of Facebook for maybe 2 years and got on, and there's like this heart and like this, like I was like, what the fuck is this?
Little care.
And that is like the precursor to, I think, understanding like what somebody feels in a situation. But what it did was this kind of, it had the opposite effect. If I saw something that I really dug, or I was like, hell yeah, but then you see a bunch of angry, faces on it, you get immediately triggered. And the other way around, like if you see something that like, it was like really, it just really makes you angry, but then you see all your conservative friends, like, they're giving it loves, and you see like who loved it, you want to hate. I mean, it's just giving you a reason to just like hate somebody before you know them based on that one little thing. Point. Anyway, I don't know.
Social media is designed like a lottery machine. It's designed to give you images, to give you small bursts of dopamine, and to make you addicted. So each element that triggers your limbic system in the platform is another addition to the addiction. So when they add elements that are emotionally driven, they're trying to create that rapport with the user and the interface, which makes you pull the slot more.
Right. You wake up to like 20 notifications. You're like, yes. Yeah. No, you're 100% right about that.
That's what it is.
But it didn't start off that way, dude. Facebook was like, and I don't know like what Mark Zuckerberg's plans were at the very beginning, but I had Facebook for the first, I joined Facebook in 2005. And for 2 years, it was nothing. I mean, it was really fun. It was like, you got to see like who was in your classes. You could like look them up or whatever. There was no feed. You had to like actively look. You could see like all your friends. You could write on people's walls. And that's dude, right. I remember before you could even upload pictures, like you just had one profile picture. And it was really just a way to like see like who was single and not, like, and like who was, who was in your class, and like, the only divisive thing, like, and it was pretty innocuous, was just, you could say like what your political viewings were, but I mean, that wasn't a huge deal, right?
Right.
And that's what it was. And when the feed happened, changed everything. This is probably 2007. For the record, I've been blessed with like a really good memory. I remember things from like when I was 2 years old. It's weird.
That is crazy.
So if you're like, well, how does he know this? It's because I fucking remember it. Everybody hated it. Everybody's like, what is this? It's so confusing. Like, like even though it was updating, and it was not even like ads, but they probably did that, because
preparation.
Exactly, in preparation for that. But I'm just telling you, the first 2 years was not that. It was literally just a way to connect. It was like a better MySpace because it was just easy, concise. I didn't care about meeting people that I didn't know outside of like my school or my network. And it's more, and over the course of, 10 years, dude, I mean, it's just crazy to see like how just what happened with it. Like, I never used to be emotional on Facebook. You know what I mean? Like, I never saw something and got triggered. Like, that was a new thing, especially with like the presidential elections and everything. But I don't know. I see it dying, and I know you think I'm crazy to say it, but I would say this: in its current like iteration, I just can't see it lasting like this much longer. Like, most people have a bad opinion of Facebook. If you ask them, like, at least in the sense of like, maybe not them using it themselves, but just like as a whole, like, they would have like a more of definitely a negative opinion of Mark Zuckerberg. Which I'm sure he's gonna watch this, and hopefully he does. So
I hope he watches it too.
Fuck you, Zuckerberg. No, I'm just playing.
Ray Kurzweil said, just to go back on that his end date for the singularity is 2049.
Okay.
But 2029, machines will surpass human intelligence.
I don't think it'll happen then.
What does that mean?
Well, but doesn't
machines
Are
would,
they?
but
They're not aware though. So how could
So,
they surpass
well,
our intelligence?
but I
well,
mean,
hold on. Let me just go back to it then. I mean, this is just.
well, so you're so simple. If when they do the God, what is it called? General artificial intelligence.
Sorry,
Yeah.
let me rephrase that. 2029 is when AI will achieve levels of human intelligence. I've set the date for 2045 for the singularity, which is when we will multiply our effective intelligences a billionfold by merging with the intelligence we've created.
And essentially, like, and you guys know this, like, the way we have simple AI now. I mean, it's not, they're not thinking machines in the way that we think. Like, they're set out to do a task and to learn. Like, we've gotten really good at, like, facial recognition, by the way, which is fucking huge.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, AI still has a hard time making decisions that it was not, like, programmed to do. And once you get AI to the point of general AI, which I believe the term, I could be wrong, but I think that is a term. Also, great article that I need to tell you guys in a second. But once you get to that point where they literally are as intelligent as humans, well, it's a game changer, because what that means is, first of all, you have a brain that's just as smart as we are, that's able to replicate itself and able to, like, and not die, right? Like, our brains are constantly dying. Like, and when that happens, I don't know, dude. I'm just like, and I'm not saying I'm not saying that I'm not afraid of it, but this is just what's going to happen. And it sounds scary, but I really think in some ways, while humans are still around, it might make our lives better if we're smart about how we get to that point. It's gonna happen. If it happens at the wrong place, that's when it's scary. You want to make sure that whoever, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's some countries where their ethics are a little different than ours.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I don't know, like, that I think it's inevitable, man. I'm fucking ready for it. Like, I'm here for it. And I would love to live to be 150 or something, because I have, like, I would love that. I mean, well, as long as I'm not, like, 80 years old for 100. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you wouldn't want to live forever.
No. I mean, I want to live. I'd want to live forever if, when I woke up, I had no memory of my previous life. That'd be kind of cool, because I can't handle the idea of, like, nothing. Of just, like, just not existing is a really tough one for me.
Yeah. I have a feeling it won't be that, but
I hope not.
We'll be fine.
But also, if it is, like,
that's actually something
no
to
biggie.
take solace in. Yeah.
Right?
Just think about before you were born. It's like, okay, it's like I don't even have any emotion for that, because I can't, because there's just nothing.
You don't remember, dude? Inside the womb?
I try.
Yeah.
I can't.
Ray Bradbury claims to remember his birth.
Wow.
That's bullshit. But, like, well, I mean, he probably has a false memory. You know what I'm saying? Like, your brain, the way the brain is developed. Like, there's just no way that, like, it doesn't store memories that way. But it's a fun thing to say.
Why do you think your memory is so good?
Apparently, my great grandma's memory was really good. This will be my mom's
mean?
grandmother on her father's side. But there was a time when, like, people in my family would argue with me about it, and then they finally just realized, Jeremy's actually right about this. And I would always be like, "Look, you see, it's red. It was a red carpet that was there." I'll remember stuff like that.
Is it photographic?
No.
It could be both.
I don't. But who knows, right? Because, like, it's all I've only been in my brain. You know what I'm saying? Like,
here's another question: do you have a first-person narrative going on when you think, or do you think in abstract?
I think in first-person narrative.
Okay, because not everybody thinks like that.
Really?
Not everybody has a head voice.
Oh, but I'm always talking.
Same.
Always.
Like, always.
And actually, because of the mask,
so weird,
I even
man.
talk a lot sometimes. You know what I mean? Because ain't nobody gonna see that shit. So.
That's funny. Just walking down the street talking.
I mean, sometimes.
But yeah, not everybody has a voice narrative going on, and they actually just think in. You can watch people describe it, but it's like just abstract, sort of non-concrete things.
I mean, if you were a mute, that's how you would. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you didn't speak, or if you were deaf, maybe, like, that's how you would.
Right. Yeah. You don't have words for anything, which is so weird. It's almost like images, but it's not exactly. It's so hard to talk about. But
Damn, it's like a salvia trip for your whole life.
But
Nah,
you're not bothered by it, thank
You're not bothered
God.
by it.
I mean, as I said last night, if I ever forgot English or couldn't speak English or any language for that matter, I can communicate. I'll be like, fuck. But we do have sign language.
Sign language.
That's amazing to me. I watched a video recently on just kind of the fundamentals of sign language.
Yeah.
And it's different in different languages too.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Like, who came up with this?
Right.
Yeah.
I know there's obviously a history of it.
Yeah.
I should just read it.
Yeah.
But it's amazing.
Yeah.
The
It'd be a good skill to have, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like.
And people have said that it's not terribly hard.
Right.
Which is really interesting because that it looks hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know why it wouldn't be too hard? Well, I mean, American Sign Language at least, because everything is connected to a word that we already know, right? So I think that's why, like, we're really good at. It's how we learn how to play instruments and stuff. At a certain point, it really does become muscle memory and pattern recognition, and I think that's why it's easier. Because learning a different language is, especially like a language that is not like Russian. Man, I've had to sing in Russian before. It always takes me longer because it's just none of these words look like anything that I know, and they're phonetically written out. It's not like actual Cyrillic or anything. It's like, but none of it means anything, and I just imagine it would be so hard to learn. But something like American Sign Language is like you're signing words that you already know. You know what I'm saying? And your hands just get used to like doing those motions.
Right.
And there's really not as many words that you say as you'd think. You know, there's actually not. Like,
I think to get basic proficient in a new language, you need like. Oh man, I don't even want to guess now. I was gonna say like 3,000 words, but I could be way off.
I'm getting a little nervous that my boss hasn't texted me back yet.
Well,
Whatever.
it's been like an hour, so.
You want to call her? Stuff like that? No, you don't want to call her?
Well, you know, we'll see what happens.
Well, we've been talking a good while, and we can go down the rabbit hole of technology and what's going to happen, like, forever.
Yeah.
Word.
We could save episode 2 with JJ for another time.
Yeah, we'll have you back on.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, we'll have people back on.
What time's your show tonight?
5 to 8.
Oh, okay.
2 hours.
So this is a good place to stop. So guys, Houston Ensemble, all socials. Houston Ensemble, all socials. You'll see a little sign when I upload this with our handle in the middle of the screen. Thank you, Eighth Wonder. We're gonna see you guys soon. Thank you to Jeremy Joseph for coming through, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. 3, 2,